All right, so,
You can see him swearing in the background.
okay, dot plots, everybody. So I'm going to ask you, let's do how many pets do we have?
Yeah, I got a dog.
So everybody, tally up how many pets you have. It's up to you what you consider a pet. I always have someone that lives on a farm and they're like, do I count them? I'm like, I would count whatever animals you have named. I feel like those count. Yeah.
Can I count my sister?
No. That's funny though. Okay, ready? So I'm gonna do, you know what? It's actually easiest with a dot plot. I'm gonna draw the dot plot as you guys answer and you'll kind of see. So with dot plots, we usually use some sort of a number line. Obviously, you can't have negative pets. So we'll start off with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll go that, and then I'll go 7+. So all I'm gonna do is for every answer that I get, I'm just gonna put a dot at that number and you'll see it'll kind of stack up. So they look kind of similar to bar graphs sometimes, but we just use dots instead. So Christian, how many pets do you have? How many pets do you have?
Do you have a pet?
2.
2 pets. Okay, so I'm just literally gonna put a dot at 2. All right, Sophie, how many? 4.
Wait, did you hear?
Noah, how many pets?
Let's see. I got a goldfish. What?
Just give me your number.
1, 2, 3.
3. Okay, everybody have your number, okay?
2.
Francisco, how many pets do you have?
4.
4?
What do
Okay.
you have?
So now that I have a second answer at 4, see how I'm putting a second dot and then I'm just gonna build them up as I need to, okay? John, how many pets? I'll put you in 7+ then.
I mean, my birds have eggs. So
Oh. I would count any animal you have named, so. All right, Jay, how many do you have? 2. Okay. All right, Connor, how about you? Connor, are you with me?
Honor.
Suk, how many?
2.
2.
How does he know?
All right,
I don't
Ash.
understand.
7.
She's calling you, Connor.
Maddie, how many?
She's calling you.
4. Okay, Natalie, how about you? 2. Jay? 2. I have 2 as well, so I'm gonna add 1 more dot to the 2 list. So as you can see, the dot plot is really a nice way to visually, I can tell immediately that most people have how many pets?
2 or 3.
2. Well, in this
7
room,
plus. Who has 7+ pets?
well, if you live on a farm or,
What?
Or,
But
I
each
mean, if you
individual
have-
fish.
right, if you have like a fish tank with a ton of fish, you know.
Had a fish.
So
Forgot to feed it.
we can also see at a very quick glance what, you know, I see very quickly that everybody has at least 1 pet in this room. Yeah.
Dude, pets count.
Oh.
I have like
No,
14.
everyone has more than 1 pet.
True. Everybody has more than 1. I wouldn't count the pets,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I'd
but-
have like 26.
Yeah, so everybody has more than 1 pet. Nobody has 5 or 6 pets. I could also ask you things like, how many more people have 4 pets than have 3 pets? And your answer would be 2, right? So it's a nice way to visually see very quickly, a nice way to organize the information. I can see it all at once. Nice, easy, simple. The only things I want to point out is that when you put your dots, just make sure that you're putting them at like the same level, right? So like sometimes kids will do this, like they'll draw, don't do this on your paper, but they might add like a whole bunch of little dots. So then it kind of looks like 4 and 7+ are at the same height. You know what I mean? You really kind of got to line them up nicely. So, but those are dot plots, super easy. Love them, love them, love them, easy peasy. Okay, So let me just add that these are and we gotta give it a title. So this is number of pets in C block. Okay, easy peasy. Stem and leaf plots. Do you remember them? Have you heard of them before? Raise your hand if you've heard of a stem and leaf plot. Okay, so it might have been a while. So let's talk about those. Okay, so we're going to use stem and leaf plots when we want to organize a set of data in a simpler way. So let me give you an example. I'm going to make these up. I don't know if these are, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but let's just say that test that we just took, right? Let's just say the scores on that test were as follows. Maybe I had someone get a 90, someone get a 75, someone get a 99, someone get a 48, someone get a 42, someone get a 60, 67, 89. Let's do another 89 maybe, and a 95. So how do we do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10's fine. All right, so let's just assume that these were the grades on the last test, right? So let me add that. Grades on last test. If I want to create a stem and leaf plot from this, it'll make a lot more sense once I do it. We're basically going to take each number and we're going to break it into a stem and a leaf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the grades. Looks like my lowest is a 42, right? So I'm going to take all the grades that are in the 40s and kind of clump them together. I'll take all the grades in the 50s, clump them together, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. So check out how this is going to work. On one side, you have literally, you write stem, and on the other side, we're going to write leaf. And now I start with my smallest number. So we already figured out that was 42. So the stem is going to be 4 because these are all going to be in the 40s. And then on the leaf side, I just list, so a 42, I just put a 2 here. But then I have another test that scored in the 40s. See that? This other one, they got a 48. So to sort of group this one together, I just literally put a comma and then add an 8. So the way you read this is, oh, there were 2 tests in the 40s. One of them was a 42 and the other was a 48. See how that kind of works? So for the 50s, I don't have any. So I'll just put a 5 and I'm just going to leave the leaves blank because I didn't have any. 60s, I do have some in the 60s. So the smallest one in the 60s was a 60. So what do you think I put as the leaf? I put a 0. So that would represent the one test that got a 60. And then I look, do I have any others in the 60? Yeah, I have 67. So then that leaf, I would just put a 7. Does that make sense? See how that kind of works? I do have one in the 70s. So go ahead and write that stem and leaf for the 70s, what you think that would look like. Would you put it as the leaf? Just a 5 for 75. And then for 80s. So this is interesting because I had 2 of them that were both 89. Do I need to put that leaf in there twice? What do you think? I'm going to go with a yes. Why? Because each leaf represents one test. right? So just because two people got the same grade, it still counts as two separate tests, right? So to do that, I'm gonna have an 89, and then I'm just gonna put a comma and then another 9. Because I had two people that got that 89 score. So I'll have two leaves that are 9s. Go ahead and try and do the 90 stem and leaf. Oh, by the way, on the leaf side, try and put your leaves in order from least to greatest. Okay, what are your leaves on the 90s? 0, 5, and 9. Perfect. So however many leaves I have over on the right-hand side, if I just count how many leaves there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should be the same number of numbers that was in my list, because each leaf represents one of those numbers. Does this kind of make sense? By the way, I'm gonna add just a 100, just so you can see what to do with 3 digits. So add one more number to the list. Let's just pretend that someone got a 100. So that would just be having a leaf, I'm sorry, the stem would just be 10 and their leaf would be a 0. The leaf can only ever be 1 digit long. So if my other number has multiple digits, I gotta put that in the stem part. Does that make sense? The other thing that every stem and leaf plot has to have is a key. If you don't put a key on your stem and leaf plot, then this means nothing to anybody. So here's all you have to do for the key. You're just going to take any one of your numbers. So for example, 4 and then a line and with the 2 after it. What score did that really represent? That really represented a 42. And I'm going to do an example in a minute where why that is so important. Well, because my numbers might not always be a 10s and a 1s. It could be decimals. You'll see in a second. Oh, it's almost lunchtime though. But anyway, that is the basic introduction to a stem and leaf plot. Oh, I should give a title for this too. It was grades on the last test. I'm just going to sneak it in. By the way, you could, when you have it all organized like this in the stem and leaf plot and everything's in order, you can answer certain questions really easily based on this too. I could ask you and you could answer so quickly. What's the highest grade anybody got? Boom, 100. What is the most common grade? 89. That's the only one that happened twice. So I would know, oh, 89 was not by much, but it was the most common grade. When we finally start talking about mean, median, mode, we can find all of those things from my stem and leaf plot too. Okay, so we will put a pin in it there.